Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, GCW, the new face of war. So GCW has a tour of in Japan, in Tokyo. This one is at the Shinkaba First Ring Arena against Freedoms, a lot of the Freedoms wrestlers. So there's 3 shows. There's the new face of war, Planet Death, and then we have a show that's going to be with Freedoms Pro Wrestling, which is another deathmatch wrestling company in Japan. So this year actually aired on Fight TV last night. I was able to watch it today. I'm reviewing it now. The one that basically airing right now, Planet Death, I'll review that one tomorrow night. Overall, an amazing show. The main event, which Brett Lauderdale put this out there yesterday, may be one of the best death matches I have ever watched. I look back at last year's stuff from GCW. This might be the highest rating match. This is definitely the highest rating I've ever given a death match. We'll run down what happened in that match and why I rated what I did. But yeah, I will put this match up against almost any match for Match of the Year. That's how good it was, I think. Again, I follow GCW. I'm a GCW fan. If you go to Robert Sports Show, the main page, there's actually a playlist now of all the GCW shows that I've done reviews of, best ofs. There's 43 for this year so far, and there's a total of 72 best ofs and or reviews that I've done since 2020 for GCW. My very first review of a GCW show was Draft Day in 2021, and I got the best of 2020. I did a mid-season and a year-end, so those are definitely some things to go back and watch. Best of. I've reviewed every match from WrestleMania weekend for the last 2 years, and then this year, every show GCW's done, I've done a review right here. Alright, let's get into this show. First match, we had a typical GCW 6-way scramble match. We had Gringo, Loco, Dragon Libre, Jimmy Lloyd. It's a scramble, you gotta have old Jimmy Lloyd. Jimmy fucking Lloyd. Yaki, I think it's how you pronounce it. Minoru, Fujita, Yaki. It was okay. It wasn't anything to write home about. It was an 8-minute match. Gringo, Loco ended up getting the victory. I ended up giving it 3 1/4. Again, these are Japanese names, so I'm going to screw the holy heck out of them, and I want to apologize ahead of time. Next up, we had a death match. We had Shane Mercer versus Daisuke Masaoka. Shane Mercer ended up getting the victory. Really the only big spot on this one here, there was a barbed wire table set up in the corner, and Mercer speared him through Masaoka through it. Again, it was like 9 minutes long. I ended up giving it 3 1/4 as well, with Shane Mercer getting the victory there. Next up, we had a 6-man tag. We had John Wayne Murdoch, the Duke, teaming up with Los Macizos, Ciclope, and Miedo Xtremo, going up against, I'm going to mess these all up, Mammoth, Suzuki, Tomoya, Hirata, Toru, Sugiura. This match honestly wasn't a lot to it, to be honest with you. Joey Murdoch and Los Macizos getting the victory, but at the end we had a trio of Irie, Tokaki, Yuri, Sakuga, and Lanto Jack come out and attack Los Macizos and Gentleman Murdoch, setting up a match for the next night at Planet Death. So that match was kind of like basically just there, honestly. It was kind of one of the few Los Macizos matches I'm like, it was okay. I mean, like I said, I give it 2 3/4, 9 minutes long. Next up, we had a women's tag team death match. You don't see a lot of these, but if you watch GCW, the 4 women that are in it, they are deathmatch gurus. Masha Slamovich teaming up with the Ultraviolet champion Rina Yamashita, going against Charli Evans and Sawyer Wreck. Again, it was a death match, but chairs and a few tubes, if I remember correctly. Not a whole lot of weapons in it. But the pile of chairs in the middle of the ring. And Masha, Slamovich, and Rina, not Yamashita, got the victory there. Ended up giving it 3.5. Next up, we have the GCW World Heavyweight title on the line. We had champion Blake Christian versus Shigehiro Irie. Shigehiro Irie I've seen a lot of in the U.S. He's done several tours in the U.S. At one time, he was the WXW champion. He's done some stuff with GCW, and I can't remember the other independent companies. Well, let's look it up. Who he's worked for here in 2023 matches. So GCW companies I don't watch. Rev Pro, he had a couple matches in Rev Pro, and one there against Robbie X, one against Trent 7, obviously WXW, one PW. He had a match against Luke Jacobs. That was actually a pretty good match if I remember correctly. Let's see, he did some stuff in Progress right around the Super Strong Style 16 tournament, which I haven't watched yet, so I don't want to see any of that. Black Hollywood Pro, so yeah, he had quite the tour of the U.S. MLW, yeah, so he's been on Prestige, so yeah, he's had a lot of matches here in the U.S. in 2023. Going up against Blake Christian for the GCW title. Solid match. Blake Christian, you know, the high fly lucha libre style guy versus Shigehiro Irie, who's more of the power base, more of the striking. 3.5 star, and Blake Christian still your GCW World Heavyweight Champion. And then we have the main event. Masaoka Takada versus the bad boy Joey Janela. I'm going to start out with, this was a 17.5 minute death match. I've seen things in this match that I've never seen before. So it starts. We'll paint the scene for you. On two sides of the ring, you had light tubes lined up on the ropes. Apparently those come in handy. We end up getting chairs in the ring. We end up getting a ladder in the ring. Chairs, light tubes, a ladder. What could possibly go wrong? Some cool ass shit. So the chairs get set up in the middle of the ring. We probably put 8 to 10 light tubes laying on the chairs. We go up the ladder. Takeda suplexes, or Janela suplex Takeda off the ladder, through the tubes, through the chairs, to the mat, kick out. Well, of course, Takeda got a little upset over all this. Picked one of the tubes up and started stabbing Janela with the tube. Janela picked the partial tube up and started stabbing him. They're stabbing each other with tubes. They start bashing each other with some more tubes. So we get a nice little layer of glass on the ring. A Death Valley driver off the ladder onto the tubes, kick out. What looked like a kind of a modified hidden blade. So he's holding tubes like this, and Janela came behind him with literally a modified freaking hidden blade with tubes to the back of the forehead, back of the head. Package pile driver onto the tubes, kick out. A swanton on tubes, on a chair. So there's Joey Janela laying on the ring. There's a chair, there's light tubes. Takeda does a swanton off that ladder, kick out. He puts a tube in the mouth of Janela and goes pile driver onto a stack of chairs, kick out. Mind you, there is glass all over this ring. Takeda end up getting the victory over Joey Janela. Holy hell. And then at the end of it, after all this, you had Janela grab a mic. Oh, by the way, I give that match, I don't know, 4.5. When I rate death matches, the way I look at these tubes and chairs and stuff, it's just like I'm looking at a normal wrestling match with moves. So think about some of the tier 1 level matches, like an Omega Okada. That's more all high flying. Briscoe's FTR. That's just two teams just going after each other. This was just two guys that enjoy deathmatch wrestling that wanted to put a show on, and using the tubes, using the ladder, using the chairs, to me were kind of like moves. It was like big spot moves. When I look at those, okay, is it just two guys standing there hitting each other with tubes? That's just like whatever, that's stupid. But when you use the weapons, you put the tubes on the chair, and then you do something off the ladder. That's kind of cool. You do a package pile driver onto the glass. That's kind of cool. When you kind of use the weapons and the moves you're doing, and it's like the move itself is cool, the tubes make it dangerous, and you put them together. But at the end of this, we had Janela getting a microphone, cutting a little promo. Takeda took offense to it, he kind of badmouthed it a little bit. You had Masha Slamovich come out. You had Takeshi Sasaki come out. You basically had three-fourths of the card for the next night come out and all fight in the ring. So we got Irie versus Mercer on Planet Death. We got Sasaki, Hirata, and Sugiura versus Christian, Loco, and Janela, because Gringo, Loco, and Blake Christian came out to defend Joey Janela. You got Masaoka, Kaduka, and Miedo versus Charli Evans, Yamashita, and Wreck, which would be a hell of a good match. Takeda versus Masha Slamovich. That's going to be really up this craziness. Jimmy Lloyd and Los Macizos versus Irie. Oh Lord, here we go. 6-man tag. It's going to be wild as hell. And oh yeah, the main event's a death match. June Kasi versus John Wayne Murdoch. So yeah, Planet Death is going to, if it surpasses this show overall, holy snap, what a tour. And it was announced, I saw on social, Kimura Hall, one of the big places where New Japan does their stuff at, a GCW show on October 12th. So Kimura Hall. So that'll be really, really cool to see how that show ends up going. But this was the New Face of War review. Again, I've reviewed every single GCW show in 2023. There is a playlist on Robert Sports Show of all GCW only. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports sound content.